Well, this is a session on banjo picking styles. I'm Art Rosenbaum, and to my left is Will Keyes, and to his left is Clyde Troxell. Will is from Tennessee, and Clyde's from Kentucky. I'm from all over, currently of Athens, Georgia, and we're going to have another participant coming pretty soon, I hope. But we got enough pickers to get started, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we'll concentrate on the music, and if we can explain a little bit about the different styles and the approaches to the styles, we'll do that too. But maybe we'll have a little more picking than what we heard this morning from a gentleman in the back there, Mr. Sexton, called it pronouncing. And he said he wasn't much of a pronouncer, he was more of a picker. So I said if I could pick and sing like you, I wouldn't even worry about pronouncing. Okay, Will, you have a unique style. When I met you 2 years ago right here at the first Tennessee Banjo Institute, I was astounded, as everyone said I would be, I'd seen people pick with 2 fingers, but I'd never heard that richness of tone coming out of the 2-finger style. So why don't you play one tune by yourself and let these folks, if they haven't had a chance to hear you, hear what you do.
I'll try a tune by myself. I left most of my richness out in the parking lot. I've been jamming to
it might follow you in the door. Can you all hear? Is that big? See. Yeah, I guess that's Thanks.
I'm going to attempt the Sycamore show. Somebody asked me to play that.
That was beautiful. There was a story behind that song. That's unusual, or that tune. It's an unusual tune, isn't it?
Yes, you want me to try to tell the story, or you want to try to tell it?
I don't know the story. You'll have to tell it.
There's a place below Elizabeth in Tennessee on the Watauga River, and there's a shallow place in the river there called Sycamore Shoals. And the over mountain men, when they gathered there, that section of them gathered at Sycamore Shoals and went across the mountain into the fight at King's Mountain. And that's where it's got its historical part of it.
How do you get the lick? How do you get all those notes out of just 2 fingers?
Just keep trying, or it's all
okay.
I have no set pattern. I use alternate with thumb and finger, and I never know which one's going to get the string and right at the point.
Could you play another one?
Sure, I think I managed one more. This one called Silver Bells.
going to try? Why don't you pick whichever one you like to start with?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm gonna need that over there first. I can't get over there. I can't. That'll be okay, I guess. It'll do it. Well, I ain't been playing none by myself in a long time. I haven't played no tune by myself since 1st of July. Me and my brother was in state of Washington. And if you all know anything about music, you know what I'm going to tell you the truth. You get used to playing with somebody and then take off out by yourself. You run into some complications. So, moving on to that workshop, you know, at number 2, Long Cabin. I tried to play some over there, of course. Anybody knows I can't play like I could when I was young man. So I could get kind of, you know, practice up by myself. I guess me and my brother play together as long as I live, as long as he lived. We travel quite a bit, and I'm used, you know what I mean, we're used to one another. And Mr. Key, you know that means a lot.
That's right, you weren't kidding.
I'll try to play what's called an old tune of Wild Bill Jones. And I've got the cassette, if you had them, you couldn't have it either. So I'm going to try to sing, if I can.
was the one I was hoping you'd play. Could you run across the strings of that banjo so you can hear how it's tuned, in case some people want to pick up the tuning?
You know, I'd be glad
Just-
to.
just-
Anything I know, if you want to know, let me know. That's your first, second, third, fourth.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had the open C tuning with an A. And the style, do you have a way of describing the style? What do you call it? If it's not claw hammer, which it is,
No.
what did?
I wish I'd have picked up for him,
Mhm.
but I didn't. Well, I tried to play the style my father had, that's the truck. And he was a two-finger banjo picker, and he could play one pure cut, hit it. And so he's a banjo picker, you know what I mean, you heard before I was born. And after I got big enough, noticing the playing, I stand between his knees and watch him, you know, that's why he talk. So when I ever growed up, I've got a little homemade banjo that's over 100 years old over at the hotel. And it's a little banjo, it's a fretless banjo, it's just about that long, but I learned to play on. And how I know that it's over 100 years old, our mother, she was still living, we put her in the hospital Wednesday evening with pneumonia fever. And she was 101 years old, age with this last October past. So it was, this banjo was made in Newcastle County, I'd say 30, 40 miles above Somerset, Kentucky. So if any of you was ever up 27 going to Lexington or Louisville, why, you know where I'm talking about, Somerset, Kentucky. Of course, I live south of there, live out of Monticello, the capital of Wayne County, about 12, 13 miles, about 15, 20 minutes drive. So it's a little banjo that I learned to play on when I was about 10 years old. And so that's it. Well, I have left on the stage and all and be on a tour or something. Tell them all the evidence I could get on this banjo one Columbus played when he come across America, playing going across the sea on it. So anyway, I've had the banjo, and I intend to keep it as long as I'm in this world, of course. It's something, well, one of my uncles, mother's oldest brother gave it to me. So I'm going to keep it as long as I live, and after that I'll have no use for it, so I don't know who will take it over. But my father was a two-finger picker, like as I picked up and like I try to play. Of course, now I play some tunes that I've got a strum for, you know, when me and my brother, I'm following him on his fiddle. And we was in Fort Sampson, Washington, the 1st of this July, June the 4th. Played a week there. I taught the five string, banjo lessons, and he taught the violin. And then overnight we played for a big dance. And if any of y'all's ever there, you know what I mean, what I'm talking about. It sure is a pretty place. If you ever had a chance, why I say I'd go. We crossed part of the pond, it's 25 miles wide before we crossed over going on to Fort Sampson. We was right up kind of in the northern part of the state.
Todd, why don't you play another one? Do you want to pick one more tune for now, and then we'll go around. I'll play one, and we'll go around trade-off tunes again.
We'll try. We want to try to play a French waltz or something.
That'd be good. Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, you can play 7 tunes is key. Well, I'll try to play that French waltz. A friend of mine went to the First World War I and brought it back from England. And he said that he learned it from the Englishman over there. And he asked him one day, he said, what do you call that tune? He said, well, we call it the French Waltz. So this old boy was a Berkeley, and he's lucky enough, he went through the First World War, come back home, and he was a good banjo player for way there. So he's the one I learned this tune from. He left better than a little bit. I used to be able to play it now, I'm trying to.
That was quite a showpiece, and it had a whole repertoire of techniques. It had the chromatics, the chimes, and I noticed you were noting the thumb string on that. Claude, you get some of the notes on the thumb string.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You got a whole bag of tricks for that tune.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Well, it goes in the tune, you know, the thumb string.
Yeah, and that.
Fifth string with it.
Well, I'll try a couple of down picking pieces.
I'll come in the G beat. I'll play more than that, I'll come in the G beat.
Okay, well. Okay, well, I'm going to play a couple now, and then we'll see how much time we have. I'm sure we'll have time for everyone to play a couple more tunes. Since Since these gentlemen specialize more in two-finger picking, I might try something in claw hammer. There are lots of good claw hammer pickers here at this Banjo Institute. I'll play a couple tunes. The second one's real well known. It's Old Joe Clark, and the first one's not so well known. It's Johnny Bring the Jug Around the Hill, and I learned it from Dwight Lamb, Red Lamb, who's a fiddler from Iowa. But the tune does crop up. It's played in West Virginia and different places. But I'll play those two tunes, see if I can string them together. first big influences on banjo was a man from East Kentucky named Pete Steele. And he lived up in Hamilton, Ohio for most of his later years, but he learned the banjo in East Kentucky. And I traveled from my hometown of Indianapolis to meet him. I'd heard some records he'd made that Al Lomax had recorded of him on the Library of Congress. And he played a lot of different styles. He played sort of index lead, up picking, sort of like what Clyde played. He played a lot of the thumb lead, two-finger style. He played a claw hammer. He played some up picking. He played this tune, which is was one of a kind of a novelty tune that had a story to it, like a lot of them do. And it's called Heavy Loaded Freight Train Pulling a Crooked Hill. And he said when he was a boy in East Bernstein, Kentucky, he said that he and his buddies would put soap on the track of the railroad on the up. You heard about that when he said on the upgrade, caused the driver wheels to slip. And normally a prank like this would have been completely forgotten, but since they made up a banjo piece to perpetuate the event and the sound effects of it, it's lived on. And so you can, if you listen, you can hear the heavy loaded freight train trying to get up the tracks that have been greased by the boys. Tuning for that is the double D tuning, or C with the capo up, and the thumb string is lowered so that it's the same as the second fret of the first string, E or F sharp. Okay, Will, you have another one picked out. Let's
I'm going to try to play Dead March.
Okay.
I'm in about that condition now, so I'll try.
Is there a story behind that tune? Why do they call it the Dead March?
Nobody's ever been able to figure out where that tune came from. I learned it from a fiddler back when I was a kid. We lived below the house, and the art director at ETSU sent a tape to Big Jim Griffith, and he seems to think it's related to a tune, an old cavalry tune out in Arizona. That's as far as I've been able to find out anything about it.
It doesn't sound mournful. It's a kind of a lively tune, isn't it?
It sounds something like they used to have these brass bands follow funerals in Louisiana and New Orleans and all, and it sounds maybe similar to some of that, but I'm not sure.
Do you pick different when you're playing with a fiddle than you do when you're playing solo, or?
No, except just when you play in breakdown, you don't get as many licks in or anything, because that's, I'm acquainted with a good guitar player down home that plays Western swing, and he puts a full chord in for every note you pick on the banjo. But he snows me when he gets into this chord progression, and I snow him when I play a breakdown, because he can't crowd all the chords in a breakdown that he wants to put.
Yeah. Got another one? Why don't you?
I'll try another, and I'm not doing much on any of them, but I'm going to try, I call it Mountain Laurel. I think the proper name's for it, Evergreen. But Grandpa Jones used to sing the thing back years ago.
It seems that the old banjo tunes would be either song accompaniments or breakdowns or show pieces, pieces to show out off different techniques, or just have some sound effect or something like that. Seems, Clyde, that you played one that was a song accompaniment with Wild Bill Jones, and then you played French Waltz, so it was more of a showpiece. Maybe you could give us a breakdown tune or a dance type tune.
I'm not going to think of something. I'll tell you, a lot of these old tunes I ain't played so long. I forgot something. Like what's starting off on the left verse there a little bit.
Yeah. Well, we'll play.
I used to play a guitar years ago back in the early 30s. comes to any kind of string instrument, the better tune you can get it in, the better it's gonna sound.
Right.
Ain't that about it?
That's exactly right.
So, I always, when I learned to do what I could do, I learned by ear. Now, some people have to have a tune, but I don't. I've had them checked a few times by ear, you have to have a tune, and they said, let me see that. I said, well, you've done it perfect. Get on in basic. About a little bit of Liza Jane. She went down the lane, over my head, right up the down to Molly Jane. Hey, poor girl, hey, poor Jane. Hey, poor girl, she's out on the train. Be my sailing to shine. I jumped on the ground, that girl by Liza Jane. Hey, poor Jane. Hey, poor she's out on the when she see me coming, she wrung her hand and cried, "You're come to me, this man is ready to die." Hey, poor Jane. Lord, she's on the train.
Why don't you play your version of Liza Jane? It seems everybody has a different version of even some of these better known tunes. A.C. Overton this morning was talking about how people came to do that. He says nowadays, we have radio and TV, and those days somebody come along on a wagon, and they'd be coming from another county or from a few counties distant, and they'd have a tune, and you'd only get one chance to hear it, and you'd pick up some of it. But then they'd be off, and then you'd have to try to remember what it sounded like, and it may be a little bit different. By the time you pass on to someone else, they'd have their version. So what about did the wagon go from Tennessee to Kentucky or vice versa? But anyway, let's hear your version and see how different it is.
I'm going to play a different Liza Jane.
I know, yeah.
I'm going to play Goodbye Liza Jane.
Okay. play two different versions of Liza Jane, but the people I learned them from are here. One is Frank George and one is Dan Geller. Not here in this room, but here at this Banjo Institute. So I'll leave you to run them down and try to get them to play their versions because I think they play it better than I do. Let me try a three-finger piece. This is a version of John Henry that I've been fooling around with, and it's influenced by a couple of people. One of them is the late Snuffy Jenkins, who played John Henry in three-finger style in D. The other was Uncle John Patterson, who was a Georgia banjo player who died in '79, or I guess it was early 1980, and he was a real wonderful banjo picker who had a complicated style. It was a three-finger style. It was combined with a kind of this kind of brush. And there's also a record of John Henry that was probably made in Georgia in the 20s. Anyway, I put together this funny version of John Henry. John Henry was a driving man. There lies a steel driving man. Maybe we have time for Will and Clyde to each play one more tune. Does anyone have any questions or anything? This is an informal session, so is there anything you want to ask or request? Okay, well, we'll just listen. Let's just listen then.
I can't get the tune. Can I step over here just a second?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Why don't you play one more?
Okay, I'll probably a little bit Blackberry Bone.
Thanks to Clyde Troxel and Will Keys, and thank you all for coming.
on the banjo. Martha Ashok on the guitar.
Well, we're here to kind of talk about Don Reno for the most part. How many people are here because they know we're going to talk about Don Reno?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll get mine out of the way real quick. The first break I ever had in bluegrass music was Don Reno, and the person told me how to, taught me and showed me how not to talk about other musicians and some of the finer points in this business, the things that you can't get from everybody else. And I think he was probably the most honest and close person, a type of person that you could trust when he told you something, tell you something that he was going to do. He was always ready to. I've seen him stop on his way to the bus to show a kid a lick, you know, in the rain. I really have. He's kind of a real decent guy all the way around, and because me talking about him is kind of funny because I don't talk about Don a lot because we grew up together. It's like me sitting here talking about it's kind of weird, but he was a really great guy, and still to this day. I don't ever judge music. I don't judge anybody as being better than anybody else. But still till this day, he said a lot. And no one could expand upon his style the way he did it, as I've been accused of several times. Don Reno there was no way to expand on something that was done so well as Don Reno did it. Not within the next 30 or 40 years anyway. So we could do it another time.
All right.
We're making this up, can you tell? No.
Eddie had the opportunity to record an album with Dad, a banjo album. It's one of my favorites. You want to tell them a little bit about how that came to be? And
Yeah, on that whole album, I don't know how many people may have that, okay. That album was recorded in 4 hours without practice. 4 hours. And that was the first Sony twin side mic that they ever made. And it was Don sat on one side of it and I sat on the other, and Ronnie Reno played mandolin chops and Charlie Waller played guitar. We got through that, but there was a unique thing about the way Reno and I played is, and I think also the reason we had a lot of respect for each other through the years was the fact that we both played a style that to the untrained ear could be mistaken as a lot of the same thing, while in fact and in truth our licks were totally different. Only when I intended to copy Reno, or Reno intended to copy me walking up some night backstage saying, "What do you think of this?" and do one of my licks. It was only when we intended to do that. Reno never, ever, ever played an Eddie Adcock lick that I know of seriously on stage, and I don't believe I've ever played one of his other than just the sentimental value of going out. We should have played that break, shouldn't we? We didn't even play that one. Okay. Well, we ought to do something else.
all right, let's pick some.
What do you want to do? How about? I ain't gonna take no Reno licks because I really don't know a bunch of them, but I do know the man, so that's why I'm up here.
How about Bye Bye Blues?
Let's see.
I can pick it up, I'll learn it by the time you get there. I'll learn it. It's been a long, we haven't played that since I recorded the drums. Okay. All right. Has anybody got any questions they'd like to ask up here? There must be. It's a great idea. I never thought of it, but yeah, it's a good idea.
I often thought that I'd like to do one with that.
Well, it's fine with me. We ought to start thinking that way.
Yeah, who's gonna pay for it? That's all we need.
Yeah, Martha.
Okay.
No, we can swing a record coming into that. We haven't talked about it, but there's good seed planted. So. Any other questions?
You get the first one right off the first.
Oh, you're full of questions today, eh?
Which came first, banjo or the guitar?
Huh?
If you start playing first, banjo or guitar?
Guitar. I'm a guitar player. Reno is a guitar player. We're both guitar players. That's really why our styles are similar. And because we were both guitar players before we were banjo players.
Yeah.
Reno wanted to be a guitar player really bad right up front. He told me many times just to play electric guitar and be in that side of the business as well. It's a lot of people out there who can cross a broad field of music and love it all, while the listeners, being uneducated to how it goes and how it works, have to think quite hard to cross that scope of playing, from rock and roll to bluegrass or something like that. That's a lot of thinking, and you tend to want to turn around and pay taxes for that kind of thinking, rather than have to do it yourself. So we're all stuck in one little vein. We'll like this or like that or like the other. But the musicians, most of them that I know, are like Reno, loved everything. It was hard to get Reno to say anything that negative about any kind of music.
Tell me about the jazz in both y'all's background, yours and Reno's background.
We have the old jazz in our background. We have what some call the real and only jazz. It's bull, but we have the old jazz. With the old standards, such as Limehouse Blues and things like that. Heartaches, all the old twins, or back in the before the 1900s when I was born. But it's the jazz element is bluegrass, jazz, and country, and what we call southern rock are all elements of bluegrass as well. I'm not saying, of course, bluegrass comes from jazz, but I'm saying they're all kind of intermingled. The feeling is the same. Bluegrass musician doesn't have to get on stage and play the same break unless that's what he wants to do. A jazz musician can do the same thing, or he can choose to do the same break. But there's freedom of playing in all those fields of music.
Yeah,
well, except for country
anymore. Yeah, I don't think I ever seen Dad take the exact same break twice on a song.
Change
on
it a little
stage.
bit just to keep him getting bored.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kept the same songs but played them different.
Yeah, but he always presented the same feel. That's another thing. You don't have to paint a picture the same way every time to paint the same picture. You feel a feeling inside, and you can go for those notes that answer to that feeling inside you, and make it work just as well as the original thing he did on the record that everybody really wanted you to do in the first place. So that really does work.
Question for Don. Were you compelled to play? Did you go to the music, or did the music come to you? Were you expecting?
I think it was so close that I just naturally went to it. It was so much of it there.
Yeah, his daddy told him, said,
Play or
"Don't pick that banjo up, son."
That's exactly
That's
what
the
he told
first
me.
thing it is, pick that banjo up.
Yeah, don't touch the instrument.
He told me he did that.
Yeah, he did. We'd sneak them out every time he turned around.
It's a good way to get your kids playing. Works every time.
Yeah, but no, he never forced us to do anything or tried to make us play a certain way or a certain, he wanted us to play,
Let you be yourself.
play correct, yeah, but he didn't try to tell us don't learn somebody else's licks or don't play like this or that.
Don't play rock and roll, but play.
Well, we had drums for a while and he finally kicked those out of the house. And,
Well, the reason I think a lot of, I on the last two albums we put out, I just forgot drums. I left drums at home. The reason I did that, I decided to just punch in a mandolin shot, which works better than drums in most cases. But I'm not saying there's anything against drums, but I believe bluegrass music sounds a little bit better without them. I'm not sure. Maybe some drummer out there going to kill me in any minute now. But everything else sounds great with drums. Butch Robbins. Hi, Butch. My old compadre.
You go ahead, I'll just chop on this.
Shouldn't have did that then. So how about Home Sweet Home or something else? Anything? That's all right. Do something deep? Yeah. This is the tune I've been playing all my life, and but Reno put it out, and he put it out on another tune, such as I do the same thing. Eddie on the freeway is Patty on the turnpike. We do that all the time. This is a tune. What do you call it again? He started to play it backwards. Green Mountain Hop. Yeah. Green Mountain Hop, which is he played it so different. It took years for the musicians to figure out, and some never have yet, that it was actually Black Mountain Rag. And if you start it where Black Mountain Rag starts, it's a little easier to pinpoint. But he was a clever sucker on this, if I ever heard. I'm gonna start like Don did, which is. Now, just to clear the pitch up, there was some Reno licks in that. I know a few, so there you go. Let's see, how we doing on time? Are we doing good on time, or? Okay, we got plenty of time? How much time do we have? An hour? Oh, that's fine. We can handle that, no problem. No problem. Okay. Huh? Okay, we'll get that. We'll get that. We'll get all those, but right now, we're not going to do that. It's my nephew out there. Back years ago when I was working in Crewe, Virginia, I was playing with Smokey Graves and his Blue Star Boys, which I bet nobody out there knows who that is. But he was at one time Clyde Moody's partner, fiddle player, a real hot fiddle player. And we were doing a show at WSBS in Crewe, Virginia, and I was using 2 plastic finger picks. They were like blobs on the end of my finger, you know, and they come around and look like elephant tusk or something. I don't know. And I was using a steel pick of some kind that was causing my finger to bleed right into the nail here. And Reno come by and heard us on the radio. He did a guest shot on the program, and he says, "You play pretty good, boy. That's really fine. But I don't know how in the world you play at all, you know." And he gave me my first set of picks, and bent them for me a little bit, just the right way. But at that time, I had been playing only with a flat pick. I was playing single string style, you know, like that. That's all I did. That's all I did. I didn't know the roll. And also, Reno showed me the roll. And beyond that, he went on to Richmond, Virginia, and one of my biggest heroes at the time was Mac Wiseman. And he got me my job with Mac Wiseman, working on the Old Dominion Barn Dance in Richmond, Virginia in the 50s. And from that, just went on from one thing to the other, and I've been a friend of the family, all the kids and everybody in the family down through the years ever since that. And Reno was my best friend in bluegrass music. He was a pretty good dude, I'll tell you. Hard to beat him. And we ought to do something else that he played. What do we do?
Y'all got any requests or?
5/8. Don, do you know 5/8?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'll be rhythm on it. I'll be rhythm on it.
All right.
We will trade off. Okay. I'm going to play a little bit of this tune. I don't think I've ever played with Martha. When Earl Scruggs come out with Foggy Mountain Special, I believe it is, the Boogie Foggy Mountain Special. I went up to Reno one time and I was kidding with him and I said, well, why don't you do a boogie or a blues or something like that? And, you know, everybody, it was a rave at the time, and here's what he did. I'm going to do a little of it. I had the pleasure of recording this with him on one of his albums. Banjo riff. This was, you know, the roll, and Reno ends up going. Years since I played that, and I needed to do that. I think I'll go home and learn it now. It sounds like you two to learn. I'll make a play. Banjo signals, yeah.
Okay. Waltz.
Yeah, no. Martha reminded me, and we're really winging this, aren't we, Don?
Yeah.
We're having one of the things that made Don Reno unique was what is called moving chords in jazz and various things, and it was stuff like that. May not be the same lick there, but he did a lot of things with moving chords, which was undone at the time. And Reno, when Reno and the bluegrass thing was kind of getting popular, Reno, I remember this, I was living at that time, but just a child, just a mere child. But Scruggs was fairly unknown in Reno at that time, was the best known in the little tri-state area up there. And Reno had got to be known as a really fine banjo player, and Earl was working on it. And thanks to our government, thanks to the military, they called Reno about the time he was about to pop loose. And while he was gone, Monroe says, well, Monroe tells this story, he told it on stage the other night. He said, well, Don Reno would have been my first banjo player, but had to go to Army. He said that the other night on stage. But that is one of the things that Reno was front and center banjo player up until mid or just right after the mid-40s. And he was the thing, and then Reno, then Scruggs come in and kind of like lapped up all the gravy, which happens sometimes, but deservingly so, because he's a wonderful banjo player. So that's fine. It's I'm glad a good one come up to do it, aren't you? Yeah. Tell you, what if old George Sims? You remember him? We used to kick his banjo so he couldn't play it anymore. Yeah. Step on his fingers when walking by. Oh, I'm sorry, George. I didn't mean to hit your fingers there. Some people you want to do that to. You know, the guy practicing fiddle right out of your side of your tent early in the morning at a bluegrass festival. Don't you want to kill that dude? Sure, you'd kill him in a second if he was allowed to. Okay, but okay. Let me think. Another thing that Reno was known for was putting people in places that you normally didn't see him, such as Ronnie on a milk carton in front of a stand on one of the most popular shows in America at that time, which was a Old Dominion barn dance. Ronnie had to stand on a box every night he played down there. We used to poke fun and laugh at him. But he got his kids involved early by telling them not to get involved. And they all ended up being experts in their field. And I'm sure you'll agree with that, with him and Ronnie and the whole bunch. Let's see, what can we do?
Little march.
Little Rock Getaway.
Little Rock Getaway? I'll play rhythm on it. Wait, you? No, I don't think so. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember.
He recorded a number of marches. Different march tunes. He did a number of march type tunes. Washington Lee.
Yeah, I'm not real familiar
Under
with
Double
a lot
Eagle.
of them, no. Y'all want to try Little Rock?
it, but he made it popular. I was talking right through one of his breaks there. Don didn't forget to tell him to be himself. Did you notice that last break? Yeah, he pawned that off as Don Sr. if he wants to, but we all know